Hey guys, welcome back to new video, and in this video we are going to make architectural skeleton of our app and also set up room database. So let's get started. As we have already prepared layouts for our fragments, now we need to make classes for them. So go to our main package, new, select Kotlin Philo class and name this class as nodes fragment. It will inherit from fragment class, and to its constructor we will pass the layout to it, which will be r.layout.fragment nodes, and we will just simply copy and paste this class and change the name to add edit node fragment and change the layout to fragment add edit node. Now we will create a navigation graph for our navigation components, and for that we will move to the res folder and create a new Android resource file. We will name it as navgraph. It will be of type navigation. Click OK. Now navigation graph is basically used to hold all the possible transitions or navigation that we will be using between our fragments. And for that we will need to first add both our fragments to it. So we'll do it like this: first nodes fragment and then add edit node fragment. We'll move it a little, and if we move to the split view, we will see that both our fragments are added to our nav graph. Now we will have only one transition in our app, which will be from nodes fragment to add edit node fragment, which will be when we will click a single node item in our recycler view or the plus button to add a new node. Now we will make a new transition like this, and that's it. If we move to the split view, then we can see that action now. Action nodes fragment to add edit node fragment. And we will use that later in our fragments for navigation purpose. Now we will set up view binding for our fragments, and for that let's move to nodes fragment first. So view binding is basically a null and type safe way to access views from our layout. So we will set it up, and for that we need to make a private var underscore binding variable, and it will be of type fragment nodes binding. It will be a nullable type, and we'll set it to null initially. Now since we have already enabled view binding in our build.gradle file, that's why all these classes are generated for us, and these classes are generated for all of our layouts. Like we can fragment nodes binding, list item node binding, activity main binding, and so on. But since this is nodes fragment, so we will use fragment nodes binding. And afterwards we will override onViewCreated function, and inside of it we will set the value of our binding underscore binding variable, and it will be fragment nodes binding dot bind, and we'll pass the view to it. Now we also need to override onDestroyView function, and inside of it we will set underscore binding variable to null. Now why do we need to do that? Since fragments have two life cycles, the first one is the activity in which they are attached, and the second one is the life cycle of fragment itself. So suppose a fragment is opened in an activity and that activity moves to the backstack. In that case, the underscore binding variable will have its value even if the fragment is not in the foreground, and that is a memory leak. So to avoid that, we will set our underscore binding variable to null in onDestroyView, which means that whenever our fragment's view is destroyed, the underscore binding variable will be set to null. Now we cannot directly access this underscore binding variable. Like if we like to access this fab add node, it will need a non-null type of it, like this. So what do we do is create another private var binding and change its getter function to underscore binding of non-null type. And whenever we will use this binding variable, it will get its value from underscore binding and change it to non-null type. And now we can access all of our views and do whatever we want to do with them. Now similarly, we will set up view binding in our add edit node fragment. So we'll create a private var underscore binding fragment add edit node binding of non-null type, and it will be equal to null. Then create a private val binding, change this getter function to underscore binding of non-null type. Then we will override onViewCreated function and set the value to our underscore binding variable, which will be fragment add edit node binding dot bind, and pass the view to it. Then we will override on destroy view function and set the binding underscore binding variable to null. So now we will create a class which will hold a single note item for us. So we will go to our main package and create a new Kotlin class, and we will name it as note. Now we can remove these braces here and make this class a data class. A data class needs a primary constructor. So what is a data class? So whenever we want a class whose main purpose is just to hold data, then we make that a data class. And Kotlin compiler generates number of useful functions for that class like copy, hash code, equals, etc. Now we will add properties of our note. So our note will have a title. So where title, it will be of type string. Then it will have a description. This will also be of type string. Then our note will also have a timestamp for when the note is created. So where created, it will be of type long, and it will be equal to system.current time in millis. Now we need an ID to our node so that our node can be uniquely identified. So where ID, it will be of type nullable integer, and it will be equal to just null. Now we want to tell Room that we want a table of this class in our database. So we need to annotate our class with add entity. So add entity and give a table name, and it will be just notes table. That's it. And every entity should have a primary key. So we'll make our ID as a primary key, and for that we need to annotate it with add primary key and set auto generate to true. This takes care of generating IDs whenever we insert a note. And since we always need to format this timestamp in milliseconds wherever we will use it, so what we can do is open the curly braces here and add a variable val created date formatted. It will be of type string. We can change its getter function, and it will be equal to date format from java.text dot get datetime instance dot format, and here we will pass our timestamp in milliseconds, which is created. So whenever we will access this created date formatted, it will take this created or timestamp in milliseconds, format it, and give it to us. Now there's one more thing. We want this table to be passed between our fragments, and for that we need to make this class a parseable. So we need to inherit from parseable and also add parcelized annotation to it. from kotlinx.parcelize. And that's it for our node class. Now, the next step to set up our database would be creating a DAO interface. So we'll go to main package and create a new Kotlin interface and name it as node DAO. DAO refers to as data access object, and basically inside of it we define all the functions that we need to perform on our database. Now for Room to know that this interface is our DAO interface, we annotate it with add DAO, and inside of it we first need a function to insert note in our notes table. So insert note, it will take a note as a parameter, and this suspend keyword means that this function can only be called from inside of a coroutine, as accessing the database is an IO operation and it can block the UI thread. For Room to know that this is our insert function, we will annotate it with @insert and open the parentheses, and we will pass on conflict equal to on conflict strategy dot replace. Now what does we mean by this line here? So by this line we are telling Room database how it should handle any conflicts. So first we need to know that how can a conflict occur. A conflict can occur if Room tries to insert a node whose ID is already present in some other node in our nodes table. And by this on conflict strategy dot replace, we mean that Room should just replace the existing node with this new node that we pass in this function here. Now we need to add a delete function in our node DAO. So suspend function delete node, and it will take a note as a parameter, and we will annotate it with add delete to let Room know that this is a delete function. And we need one more function. This function will be used to get all nodes from our nodes table sorted by created timestamp in descending order. The function get all nodes sorted by created, and this function will take no parameters and will just return a live data of list of nodes. And since this function will query all the nodes from our nodes table, we need to add query annotation to it and just pass the SQL query which we need to perform. So in this case it will be select star from nodes table. Star means that we need all the columns from our table. Order by created in descending order, and for that we will need to add desk at the end. And that's it for our node now, and we do not need to care about the bodies of this function. Room will take care of it, and we just need an object of node DAO wherever we want to use these functions. So the next step would be creating a class for our node database. So Kotlin Philo class node database, and this will be an abstract class. And to make this as a database class, we have to annotate it with that database and open the parentheses. Now the first parameter will be entities. We have to pass all the entities of our database. So it will be an array, and since we have only one entity, so node and double colon class. And the next parameter will be version number, which will be just 1. This version number is required whenever we need to change the schema of our database. We have to increase the version number every time we change it. So this abstract class will inherit from Room database, and inside of it we will add an abstract function get note DAO, and it will just return a note DAO. So that's it for our database. Now since we have added many classes in this video, we should structure them. So we will first create a package data, and inside of it we will add all our database classes note, note DAO and note database. And we will create one more package for our UI, and inside of it we will create another package fragments, and in that we will add both of our fragments. So guys, that's it for this video. Hope this video was interesting for you. If so, then hit that like button and also do subscribe to my channel. And if not, then tell me in the comment section below how can I improve. And also, we will be setting up Dagger Hilt in next video. So stay tuned for that. Thank you.